Hi guys, so for today's video I'm doing the no disclaimers book tag. I was tagged by Lindsay over at Lindsay Puckett, so I will have her channel linked down below if you want to check out her answers to this. Jumping right into it with question number 1, it's which trope or tropes in books annoy you the most? And I recently just did a whole video of tropes that I hate in books. I also did one of tropes that I love in books because it's good to be positive also. But as far as tropes that I dislike, I'd say one of my least favorites, I'll pick one, would be unnecessary tension. This can happen between friends in books, but generally it happens between romantic interests, and usually what goes down is that you'll have two characters that you've been waiting and waiting and waiting for to get together, and even if you're really enjoying the story, you know you're turning those pages to see if those people finally get together at some point, and then when they do, something happens immediately, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I guess I can't be together. It's the Ross and Rachel of books, and I get so tired of when it's will they, won't they, and then it turns out, oh yes, they will, and then the author's like, but wait, I don't know what else to write to keep you interested, so just kidding, they won't. The next question is, which writer or writers do you feel are overrated or overhyped? And I'm gonna be super lame and not actually answer that question because I don't mind mentioning my thoughts on specific books that I think maybe are very loved and I just don't love them, but I can't just flat out say this author's overrated because that's a person. You know, if I don't connect to a book, maybe I didn't connect to the characters or something, but to kind of go after another human being, it just feels mean. Question number 3 is, which book or books have been your least favorite since starting BookTube? I did do an entire video of popular books I don't love, but one book that I read after that was not included in that list was Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, which everybody seems to freak out about. It's about children that come back from other worlds and then don't know how to cope now that they're back in our world, and I thought the concept was great, but man, I just did not connect with that book. Question number 4 is, what is a terrible ending that ruined an otherwise quality book? The book The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, and I don't think that the ending itself ruined the book, but I just didn't really love the direction it started to go in halfway through. I felt like the character started making some pretty unfortunate decisions, or just was, her behavior started to kind of drive me crazy. Question number 5 is, which fictional characters do you wish weren't killed off? And none, because when people die in books, it's fantastic. Question number 6 is, what is a bookish pet peeve of yours? And I've got lots of these. I do not like when, I think that Lindsay, who tagged me, mentioned this too, I don't like this new thing now where books covers aren't actually covering the book all the way. I think the Lunar Chronicles do it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just print that extra little sliver of paper. I also don't like when books that are all the same size and are part of a series, they don't all line up on the spines with the text and stuff, like they're just slightly offset. That drives me crazy. I don't like, okay, I've only seen this happen once, and it's with my favorite series, one of my favorite series I should say, and that'd be the Witcher books. And I don't know what they're thinking, but they originally printed the first of the collection of short stories small, and then the second collection of short stories big, and then the first of the actual series small, and the rest of the series big. And I'm like, what? Then they started to fix it, where they started selling The Last Wish, which is the very first, it's kind of confusing because The Last Wish is actually the very first collection of short stories. They started printing it in the right size, so then everything matched, and then Blood of Elves, the first of the series, they started to release in the right size, but only in a box set with the first 3 of the actual series, so I still can't buy it in the right size, so I'm still missing it in those editions. Ugh. Question number 7 are, what are some books that you feel deserve more recognition? And I say this every single time any kind of a question like this comes up, and that is hands down The Strongbow Saga by Judson Roberts. They are historical fiction books about Vikings, and they're done so well. I'm currently reading them right now for the rereadathon, and I forgot. I mean, I didn't forget. I've always loved them, but I was nervous that it was just nostalgia that was making me still love them as much as I do. And then I picked it up and I started reading again. I was like, no, this is amazing. You can just picture everything. You immediately start to sympathize for the character, and you feel really engrossed in the world. It doesn't feel like a spin on what it would have been like in that time. It's like you feel like that character is in that time. It's done so well. Question number 8 is, what are your thoughts on censorship and banning books. And in a school setting, if there's a book that's erotica, yeah, that can be banned. No problem with that, right? Like I'm pretty sure if there's lots of really explicit terms and descriptions of sex or violence or language or whatever, anything to that extent, it makes sense that it's not in a school. As far as just in bookstores in general, I actually do have some opinions, and it's not about banning books. It's, to some degree, people would argue this is about censorship. I don't think this is censorship. I've thought about it a lot and I disagree, but I do not like when books that are clearly, when they clearly have those same things I mentioned that might be cause to be banned from a school setting, really, really explicit sexual content or violence or language, when those books are marketed as young adult. I feel like it's such a money grab because maybe the author is known for having other series in the young adult section, or maybe they're just popular authors, or maybe those books are just really popular, and so publishers know the young adult section, like young adult fantasy, that does really well, so let's just sell the books there. All that needs to be done in that situation is for that book to be sold in the adult fantasy section. It's not that hard. I don't care if people think that that's infringing on the publisher's rights. It's about integrity and doing what's right. The thing that prompts this so strongly in me is the series A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I'm not by any means saying is a bad series. I'm not saying that the content in that book doesn't belong there. I'm not saying that young people shouldn't read it. I'm just saying I don't think it belongs in the young adult section because it's got explicit sexual content. And I have the same opinions about other series. I think some people think that that's just the sexual stuff that's prompting this, but honestly, I don't love when I see Mistborn sold in the young adult section. Even though I think people who are young can read it and enjoy it, there's some violent stuff in that series. There's some dark themes in that series, and it's not explicit, but there's some references to a woman who lived a good portion of her life just constantly being raped and being in a breeding program and stuff. That's dark, and I don't love when I see that in the young adult section. So while no, I absolutely don't think that books should be banned, I do think that there needs to be more responsibility put on publishers to sell books where they actually belong. Question number 9 is, who do I tag? And if she hasn't done this yet, I'm gonna tag Ivy for books because I would love to hear her answers to these questions. I think she is so smart and so well spoken, so I tag her if she's never done this tag. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on all of these questions. I know that the one before who I tag is a little bit controversial, but that's kind of the point of the no disclaimers book tag, so I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about all of these. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and check out some more of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.